let's see. So I read about Esther making queen. Okay, so I'm on three. Welcome in, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, Haman's plot to destroy the Jews. After the events, after all the parties and stuff, King Ahasuerus honored Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agag, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. All of the royal officials at the king's gate knelt down and paid honor to Haman. To the king had commanded this concerning him. But Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor. Then the royal officials at the king's gate asked Mordecai, "Why do you disobey the king's command?" Day after day, they spoke to him, but he refused to comply. Therefore, they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated, for he had told them he was a Jew. Um, when Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. Yet, having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead of Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews throughout the whole kingdom. In the 12th year of King Xerxes, in the first month, the month of Nisan, that is the lot was cast in the presence of Haman to select a day and month, and the lot fell on the 12th month, the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, "There is a certain people dispersed among the people in all the province of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. These customs are different from those of all other people. They do not obey the king's laws. It is not the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them. And I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king administrators for the royal treasurer." So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, son of Haman, the Agag, the enemy of the Jews. "Keep the money," the king said to Haman, "and do with the people as you please." Then on the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. They wrote out in the script of each province and in the language of each people all Haman's orders to the king's satraps, the governors of the various provinces, and the nobles of the various people. These were written in the name of King Ahasuerus himself and sealed with his own ring. Dispatches were sent by carriers to all the king's province with the order to destroy and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on a single day, the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, and to the plunder their goods. A copy of the text of the indict was to be issued as law in every province and made known to the people of every nationality, so they would be ready for that day. The carriers went out, spurred on by the king's command, and the edict was issued the citadel of Susa. The king of Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was bewildered. Welcome in, y'all. Let's see. When Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on a sackcloth of ashes, and went into the city wailing loudly and bitterly. But he went only as far as the king's gate, because no one clothed in sackcloth was allowed to enter. In every province to which the edict and order of the king came, there was a great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing. Many lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther's eunuch and female attendants came and told her about Mordecai, she was in great distress. She sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. Then Esther summoned Haggai, one of the king's eunuchs assigned to attend her, and ordered him to find out what was troubling Mordecai and why. So Haggai went out to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate. Mordecai told him everything that happened to him, including the exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for their annihilation, which had been published in Susa, to show to Esther and explain it to her. And he told him to instruct her to go to the into the king's presence to beg for mercy and plead with him for her people. Hathach went back and reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. Then she instructed him to say to Mordecai, all the king's official and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, the king was but one law, that they be put to death unless the king extends the gold, the gold scepter to them and spares their lives. But 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king. When Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance from the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to royal position for such a time as this. Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went away and carried out all Esther's instructions. So let's see. Um, sometime later, so this is the English version. Sometime later, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman's son, making him the highest ranking official in the government. All the king's servants at the king's gate used to honor him by bowing down and kneeling before Haman. That's what the king had commanded, except Mordecai. So Mordecai wouldn't do it. So Mordecai said he ain't finna bow down to Haman. And kneel. The king's servants at the king's gate asked Mordecai about it. They asked him like, "Why you didn't do what the king tell you? Why you cross the king's command?" Day after they spoke to him about this, but he wouldn't listen. So they went to Haman to see whether something should be done about it. Mordecai had told them that he was a Jew, so he didn't kneel down to him because he said he was a Jew. When Haman saw for himself that Mordecai didn't bow down and kneel before him, he was outraged. Meanwhile, having learned that Mordecai was a Jew, Haman hated to waste his fury on just one Jew. He looked for a way to eliminate not just Mordecai but all the Jews throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. In the first month, the month of Nisan, was cast under Haman's charge to determine the day and month. The lot turned up the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Haman then spoke with the king. There is an odd set of people scattered through the province of your kingdom who don't fit in. Their customs and their ways from those of everybody else. Worse, they disregard the king's laws. They're an affront. The king shouldn't put up with them. If it please the king, let orders be given that they be destroyed. I paid for it myself. I deposit 375 tons of silver in the royal bank to finance the operation. So he want that he ain't playing with them. He said, I'm gonna give y'all 375 tons of silver to make this happen. I'm financing this situation. The king slipped his snip ring from his hand and gave it to him and son. Um, Go ahead, the king said. Here's your money, do whatever you want with those people. The king's secretaries were brought in on the 13th day on the first month to orders was written out word for word. Haman had addressed them to the king's satraps, the governors in every province, and the officials of every people. They were written in the script of each province and the language of each people in the same name and sealed with the royal signet ring. Bulletins were sent out by carriers to all the kings. So everything was sent out, y'all, and the king's command, the carriers took off. The order was also posted in the palace. So they playing. They come from Mordecai. When Mordecai learned what had been done, he ripped his clothes to shreds and put on the sackcloth and ashes. So once he found out what was going on, Mordecai put on the sackcloth and ashes. Then he went in the street of the city crying out loud in bitter cries. He came only as far as the king's gate, but no one dressed in sackcloth was allowed to enter the king's gate. As the king's order was posted in every province, there was loud lamenting among the Jews, fasting, weeping, and wailing, and, and most of them stretched out on sackcloth and ashes. Esther's maids and eunuchs came and told her the queen was stunned. But Mordecai is Esther's friend, so she like, what? Esther's okay. So the queen was stunned, so she sent fresh clothes to Mordecai so he could take off his sackcloth, but he wouldn't accept down. Esther called for Hathy, one of the royal eunuchs whom the king had assigned to wait on her, and told him to go to Mordecai and get the full story on what was happening. Because Esther didn't know what was going on, so she like, go out here and go see what really going on. Go talk to Mordecai. So Hathick went to Mordecai in the town square in front of the king's cafe. Mordecai told him everything that had happened to him. He also told him the exact amount of money that Haman had promised to deposit in the royal bank to finance the massacre of the Jews. Mordecai also had gave him a copy of the bulletin that had been posted, and so he could show it to Esther when he reported back with instructions to go to the king and interceded and pleaded with him for her people. Hannah came back and told Esther everything Mordecai had said. Esther talked it over with Hannah and then sent him back to Mordecai with this message. Everyone who works for the king here, and even the people out in the province, knows that there is a single fate for every man or every woman who approaches the king without being invited. The one exception is the king to send his gold scepter. Then he or she may live. And it's been 30 days now since I've been invited to come to the king. When Heather told Mordecai what Esther had said, Mordecai sent her this message. Don't think just because you live in the king's house, you're the one Jew who will get out of this alive. If you persist and stand silent at a time like this, help and deliverance will arrive from the Jews for someplace else. But you and your family will be wiped out. Who knows? Maybe you were made queen for just such a time as this. Esther sent back her answer to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast to me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went away and carried out all Esther's instructions. So my girl Esther is riding. She riding for Mordecai, y'all. She is riding for Mordecai. So that I read chapter 3 and 4, Esther 3 and 4. My girl gonna ride for, I think Mordecai, her stepdad, the person that adopted her. Everything's getting good, y'all. So it got 10 chapters in him. So like I told y'all, my friend said I kind of remind her of Esther. So I guess I can understand why. So I'm about to go ahead and get my clothes on. So I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride for mine. I ain't see nobody come in here today, but it's all good, I guess. Everybody doing their little thing. It's all good. I know I had to, be consistent with my lives and stuff. So I'm gonna do that for sure. Oh, I done put the whole thing in my phone. right, well, I guess I'll go because ain't nobody coming in here. So y'all have a good day.